Hey, John, welcome back to another conversion focused website review. We do one of these every week. And today we're going to take a look at a company that I stumbled upon on Twitter this week called
Okay.
Suave Shoes. They're at suavshoes.com. I think it was, I say my buddy Nat. I don't actually know him. I know him through the internet a little bit. But he's in Austin. I think this company's based in Austin. And he's like, Suave Shoes is one of the products where I recommend it to one person and then they go tell 10 more people. And I end up
Mm,
selling a whole bunch of shoes for them because they're that good. So that caught my attention. Anything that has, supposed word of mouth referrals like that has got to be worth taking a closer look at. And that's why we're here today. So I've
great.
got the site loaded up. First impression
Okay.
is we've got a discount pop up that we see pretty much everywhere around the web. So what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of a dollar or percentage discount right off the bat, as you all know by now, James. But we still see them all over the place, no matter the crusade or soapbox I get on here. I will say that they've made it pretty clear that you can say no thanks, which a lot of brands try to hide. I do like that it's bold orange text, so it pops off there a little bit. But I also think they could do a lot of effort here around telling people what to expect. It's how many emails am I going to get? How often? And really going to need something that's a little bit better than, hey, I'm signing up to be marketed to, which is what that messaging says. So give somebody a really clear reason to sign up that benefits them. They're missing privacy here. So basically just a small statement that says, hey, like we won't sell or abuse your email. That's really it. That will help really add some reassurance. And then instead of a $10 off your first pair, I would really focus on some type of promo. And what is the offer that you can provide here instead of giving people a coupon, right? So
Yeah.
could it be? It could even be free shipping. That has value, right? Although you already have it with 2 free pairs, well, sign up, you get your free shipping on your first pair, right? So there's something that they could do. There'd be a little extra there, or even free gift with purchase, something of that sort. Is it, I always wondered why shoes don't include extra laces, for instance, or something like that. That could just be a little extra, be a nice customer service touch, would not cost a lot. So just
Yeah.
some thoughts there, anyways.
Yeah, totally agree. I will say at least they own that, we're basically going to market to you. A lot of folks say like
Yeah.
join us for I don't know, the best news or something like vague like that. And they're
Mhm.
saying, no, we're only going to reach out to you apparently when we have a new release, news about the company or a special promotion. So at least you kind of know what you're getting into. You don't know the volume or the cadence of it, but
Mhm.
when they email you, it's probably going to be a product promotion. And if you're okay with that and you opt in anyway, then that's a good way to have the right people on your list, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say no thanks to that. Looks like you caught wind, or your eye was caught by the free shipping bar at the
Mhm.
top. So free shipping on 2+ pairs. I know we always say that free shipping is kind of the best performing incentive or offer that we see in that notification bar layout up there. And I think it's smart of them to say 2+ pairs. I'm guessing there's some kind of profitability angle there or average order
Mhm.
value trying to get that up slightly. Most people order 1 pair, so how can we get them to order a second pair? Give them free shipping if they buy that second one, right? I think
Yep.
that's smart. It does seem like a lot of text up here to include the shop now, pay later with Afterpay at checkout. Almost feels like two mixed messages in the same place. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts in general are they should stick to one message. We've tried testing dozens of different messages and multiple messages, and the only thing that really does move the needle is free shipping. So I would stick to that. Afterpay, pay later with Afterpay at checkout. People aren't concerned about that until they get to that point. Typically, we find that on a product detail page where maybe they're having some objection to the price or that they don't feel like they can afford it right now, but they'd be willing to do some type of buy now, pay later program. Look, those programs, they have an effect. They do work, but I wouldn't promote it up here. I'd promote it where that objection is coming, which is product detail page and in checkout.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. Like, if it's at checkout, why don't you let me know at checkout? Basically,
Mhm.
is what I was going to say there. Awesome. So, and that the other thing is that kind of primes me to expect these to be fairly expensive. And shoes can be anywhere from I don't know, $20 all the way up to $2,000 or even more for some designer heels or something like that. So what is expensive? I don't know. But typically, when you have a consumer good that has afterpay associated with it, I don't know. I've seen afterpay on $30 items too. So wewe'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see
well, I
what
was
this
just
one
gonna
ends up
say,
being.
I was on a site the other day where it was the product was under $10, and they were doing Sezzle, one of the competitors, Afterpay Sezzle or something like that, that was splitting it among 4 payments, and I was like, I think I even tweeted it like, can't afford $9.99. Can you afford 250 times 4? Like, it
Right.
was just so random. It was like really unnecessary. But yeah, the other thing here that I'm not really a huge fan of is the auto rotating slideshow here. They have done a great job of keeping the call to actions and the in the same place and the same message, but it's moving so fast that it's just like I'm looking at the product, next thing I know it's gone. It's really a distraction. I would run a really easy A/B test: a static image versus auto rotating. And on that static image, just have it auto choose one of the four. So just set randomly display one of the four. Pretty simple piece of JavaScript to make that happen. The reality is, we've tested this, that will perform better. But it's worth a shot in testing it with your audience. It's really distracting because it really start reading that headline, and even the headline disappears. Even if a step closer to the right user experience here would be to leave the headline and the call to actions and just move the image behind it. That would even be better. But I would prefer just static and let people move it if they want. In addition to that, James, it's really distracting from the navigation. I guarantee that if we did eye tracking on this, nobody is looking at that navigation because the image is a full bleed behind it, first of all. Second of all, with the rotating images, you end up looking at the middle of the page in that headline and the images going by, and you completely are going to miss the navigation. So I think that it's a bit of an issue there. The other thing is, while we're talking about the navigation, I would like it to say women's shoes and men's shoes, just a little bit more descriptive. And only reason I suggest that is because consumers are going to use that to help understand if they're in the right place. And what I mean by that is they have an ad they clicked on, something that brought them here, a social, mention or referral from a friend. They clicked and they ended up here. Really, people use the navigation to make sure that you can help solve their pain or need, or that they're in the right place to some degree. And so I think that would be really helpful to explain what it is that you sell. Maybe they have more than shoes. We'll dive in and find out. But based on the URL and the "do anything with one pair of shoes" tagline, I'm assuming that's not the case yet.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say one thing that jumped out at me. You said the navigation's probably getting overlooked, and then I was like, well, 50% of the navigation is included down here with
Mhm.
the men and women. I mean, that's half of the items up here. But then you hover over this, it's like, okay, well, we've got a lot more under there that we could consider. So it's much more impactful, I think, for a user to kind of explore this menu, right, than overlooking that top left corner and just clicking men, which would take you to all
Mhm.
those products lumped together. What do you think about the navigation while we're on here? It looks like we've got women drop down, men drop down, and then stories and about. So I'll hover over a
Mhm.
drop down menu just to show that structure. But fundamentally, how are they performing here in the navigation design?
Yeah, I think I'd rather see a sentence under each about what those shoes are designed for, right? Like the Eddie looks like a sandal. Maybe do something like, hey, the perfect lounger for beach day. The Barton could be an everyday, but the Legacy looks a little more dressy. Like, I'm just trying to understand what each of these is geared for, and that would help me to quickly get to where I need to be. So I'd like to see that as opposed to just the name, because you're really making the consumer do all of the work here and trying to figure these things out. So you're almost creating more questions than you're answering right now, which is not what you want to do in your navigation.
Yeah, I think that's kind of common feedback that I give to apparel brands is like the clever names are fine for products. They give them personality, especially if you have a fancy product description or a story behind it. That's awesome. But in terms
Mhm.
of the consumer, like I want to know how this fits into my life. And Barton
Mhm.
doesn't tell me that, right? The other thing I think is interesting here is that they chose to go with black for every product photo. And that's fine because it's the most basic color. And it's like, it probably was done to prevent me from clicking on the Barton just because it's a color that I like when really the Zilker is better for me or whatever. But is there a more, I mean, this brand seems to have a bunch of personality. You got people jumping around, you got people being active, you got these bright orange CTA buttons. So could you go with even a blue or something like that? It's just a step more, because to me, like, you got this black sole, this black shoe, like it's all kind of fading into the background, and it's almost
Hmm.
too heavily contrasting with the white background. Like, it just kind of, it almost looks more like a shape or an icon and less like a product. I can't see any texture to it. So I just think there might be a better color choice there to communicate the product.
Yeah, especially on mobile, that's going to be an issue where it's a small screen. I think you're going to have that even exacerbated. So,
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's move down a little bit. We've got meet your new favorite shoes. This is kind of the value prop or the benefit statements, I would say. They've got this fun interaction here where you can drag and see the sole, and then you can see it from a top down. So that's kind of interesting. Um, Let me read
I
some of
like
this
this. I think
text
there's
here.
a lot of text there, but I love that, most people are going to read that headline and understand what it is. And if they want more details, they'll dive in. But I like that you can interact with it to some degree. I wish that it had started like you're showing it here in the middle, so that if people wanted to it's a good clue that you can interact with it.
Hmm.
But overall, I'm not I don't have any issues with this section. I think that shop now gets kind of buried in the bottom left hand corner. You can see even now on your browser, it's only half there. So that's a bit of an issue, I think.
Right. Yeah. I think part of that is because this description is so much larger than the rest of them. If you could get them
Hmm.
all down to 2 lines, then that shop now starts to creep up, and maybe you center it in between these 2 columns, and then it makes a lot more sense there. It's much more intuitive. I also think this interaction is a little weird because I'm used to seeing it kind of like reveal 2 sides of the same view, but for this to be from the
Hmm.
bottom up and this to be from the top down, I don't know. That's a little like counterintuitive to me from how I've seen that typically used, but it's a cool feature, and I bet a lot of people do play around with it, right? Just
Yeah.
because of the interactivity of it. Awesome. Okay, so moving on down, we've got kind of a video background here, really showing some close-ups of the product. Looks like it's recycled plastic, which is awesome. And yeah, not much to say here. I mean, it's a really short loop. So I know
Hmm.
typically, I don't know if we called this out already, but a generic shop now CTA usually isn't the best, right? Like, is there can we take them to men's shoes, or can we take them to a specific lineup, or can we even
Hmm.
this one? Can you take them to the detail page to talk about all the manufacturing processes and the company mission or
Right.
something like that, right? Same thing down here. Like, would we want to see more about the eco-friendly element of the brand here, or something like that, or is there only one model of shoe that's made out of recycled knit plastics, and the rest aren't quite there yet? Something like that.
Yeah, I love this video. I think the shop now gets lost in this video as well, but I almost wonder if you even need that CTA there. Usually, I'm one for adding more CTAs, not removing them, but I do think that's just getting lost there. People aren't going to notice it, and this video does tell you the story really succinctly, and I think they do a great job with it. So I'm interested to see what's below.
Awesome. Yeah, let's check it out. Okay, so flexible and easy fitting all day wear. This is what I was talking about before. I did catch this clip on
Mhm.
social media or something where you can kind of bend and twist and fold these in half, and they go pretty much anywhere. I think they were billed to me as great shoes for like frequent travelers, digital nomads, and stuff like that. So I think
Mhm.
this short GIF here is a great way to communicate that quickly, and just a lot of like little punchy CTAs. It looks like here, little punchy
Yeah.
videos and headlines, and then shop.
Yeah, the short video clips are wonderful. I mean, this is yeah, I don't know how you could get better demonstration than what they have here. So that's wonderful. They did a great job with that. Um, and there's no need to add any additional text there. So they did a great job.
Yeah, I wonder if they would be better served to keep the shop men's, shop women's the whole way throughout, right? Because like this is
Hmm.
taking me to literally the entire collection. But then I
Yeah,
look
that's
up here
fair.
in the drop down menu, and they have the same models across both. So are they unisex shoes? Are they
Hmm.
kind of like one size fits all, or are they truly men's and women's? That's a little less clear to me at this point. So we'll see.
Yeah. Now, again, they've created more questions than answers by doing that, right?
Right.
Because you could
Um,
just in the navigation just have shoes or
that's
shop
right.
shoes, something like that,
Yeah,
right?
you could almost
And
have shoes and sandals, because like those are two different things. I mean, you
mhm.
can't do things in sandals that you can do in sneakers or boots or anything else.
Yep.
So, um, All right, so this section looks like it's about calling out two specific models. We saw the Zilker earlier. They come in this nice crimson tone, and then
Hmm.
the Eddie slides, which look super comfortable. And I've got a pair of Adidas slides that are worse for the wear, so I might have to check out the Eddies here. But
Everybody seems to, our generation has those,
yeah,
the Adidas slides. So, and everyone, and lots of brands are coming out with great upgrades to those, right?
yeah,
Um, I don't like the CTAs they have here because they've trained everybody to look for those orange buttons. And all
hmm
of a sudden now it's just white text that blends in with that headline. Yeah, it underlines and moves and animates when you roll over, but really need to stick with a consistent call to action. So folks, you've trained folks up to this point on the page that hey, we're looking for an orange square if I want to click on something, and here that's missing. So
yeah. And I'd like to see one line about, I mean, the slide's relatively intuitive, but like what separates the Zilker from, the
mhm.
Legacy, the Barton? Is it just a mid top, high top, low top kind of thing? Or is this more dressy and pairs well with jeans? So it's like, an informal kind of
Yeah,
job interview for a barista type of thing. Like, help me picture my life wearing these and how they would fit in, like what kind of wardrobe I would put them with, right? Just one line can make all the difference there, I would say.
it's great.
Getting down in, okay, we got the Legacy. This one's interesting because it almost looks like leather, right? But we know this is
Mhm.
probably recycled plastic. And then the Barton looks more like your traditional Converse, same kind of layout. Probably not a whole lot to add there. Same thing with the CTA, maybe one line
Mhm.
descriptor. Like the product photography, it features the shoes pretty prominently, and it's I don't have any confusion personally about whether they're selling the pants or anything else in the picture. So kudos to them for that because I know a lot of
Yeah,
companies
let
get
me
that
tell you,
wrong.
I would love to optimize this site, James. Sorry to cut you off. I would love to optimize the site because I think the assets are extremely well done. The
Hmm
copy and the user experience is lacking. I would say instead of the titles of the names of the products, what's the benefit? Why should I care? Right? Why should I click on Barton versus Legacy, et cetera? It's got to be more than just the look, right? So, um, let me know. Like, I'm assuming that Legacy I can't fold up and put into a suitcase or a backpack the same way I saw up above.
Right.
So whatever that one was that's up above, you know, that I would put here. Is it the Zulker? Or do you think
Yeah, I think it
maybe?
was the Zilker, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so then like, hey, the most packable travel ready shoe, wear anywhere shoe, something like that, right? The
hmm
Eddie slides, like I said earlier, like for relaxing or beach day, like they have a picture of it on the beach, right? Um, you know, I understand they want to brand the individual products, but if I go to a friend and I say, "Hey, I bought the Barton," they're going to be like, "Great, like those look cool." And what are they for? When do you wear them? Right? They're not going
Right.
to remember the Barton as the name most likely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even for the slides, like these look like, those patterns that happen in sand dunes in the middle of the desert when the wind blows through. Like,
Hmm.
I'm just thinking, like, what if there's a line in here about like, get that sensation of walking on sand without burning your feet? Like you still feel like you're walking on sand because they're so comfortable, but they protect you and
Yep,
don't burn your feet, that kind of thing.
love it.
Yeah, I think that would be good enough. Let's see here. All right, so then we get into a social proof section really quick. These look like excerpts from a review article in each of these publications. Trying to get that interaction to trigger again, but it looks like it might be I'd have to either click it. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like if I click
Yep.
it, but
Okay.
it's what's weird is I'm clicking Business Insider and it's going to Forbes. So I think there's some kind of like wrestling between automatically scrolling through these and me trying to,
I
override
see.
that
Yep.
with a click. But it looks like a kind of a rough interaction there.
Yeah. Thus is the challenge with auto rotating text, right? Users don't, they typically don't want auto rotate without their permission and their interaction. Like this is a much longer section. If I'm trying to read this and then all of a sudden it's gone, I'm upset about that, right? I'm like, man, I just tried to read this. Like, give it back to me. So I think they'd almost be better off having a four up, grid with each of the quotes and trying to get the quotes down to the meaningful part of them, right?
Yeah,
So
and at least give them some vertical space in between the lines. That's a little tight for the
yeah,
weight of the
hard to
font
read.
and everything to read through it quickly. Awesome. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the footer, and then I want to make sure we check out to see if they have a size 15 for you, because I know that's always your question
Yes,
about the shoe brand. So let's take a look at the footer first, and then
it's
we'll go see if they have a size 15 in any of these.
great. Yeah, I know. I have a story about that. I'm not a huge fan of this footer. Just looking at briefly, the first thing you're telling people to do is go off of your site into the black hole that is social. If I click on that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram button, I'm not coming back here. Most likely, I'm in the death scroll, as they call it, right? The other thing is always on the far left. What we want to do is repeat the main navigation, or at least a shopping navigation. So that might be a good opportunity to list all. Was it like 4? I think they had 4 different brands. Of the 5 products specifically. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just list those 5, right? Um, and then I would do something instead of extras. I would do something like help, because those are all, getting customer service, FAQs, shipping. Those aren't extras. Those should be standard customer service. So as a customer, if I see that and it's called extras, I'm like, oh, so your customer service is an extra to you? It's not really, I'm not going to have a great experience. So I'm not a fan of using that term. And about I don't know why it says women and men under about. I'm not really sure what that's going to take me to, but probably not getting a lot of clicks. And then I'm okay with having the third column of the newsletter sign up. They need to add the information that we talked about in the pop-up, so I think that would be helpful. And then on the far right, they really need contact information. They need an email address, a phone number ideally, and a physical address ideally. Some way for customer service to get folks to get a hold of you. If I'm looking at this navigation right now, I have no way to get a hold of you. There's no, I see that support, maybe chat pop up. But if I miss that, because it really does just blend in, right? And it's down in the corner at this point. I'm like, man, why would I trust these folks? They're not giving me anything about where they're located, who they are. How do I even get a hold of them if I have a problem? And I think that's a big issue. So, we really want to have the trust signifiers here, and that is the ideally support email, phone number, and physical address. Even if it's a PO box of some sort or your warehouse, that's perfectly fine. So that should be all the way on the far right. And then lastly, I would get rid of the payment icons. They're really not necessary. People in your footer aren't worried about whether or not you take a form of payment that they have available to them. Guarantee that you do. Nobody, I've never been to a site in the past 10 years that doesn't have at least one form of payment that I have available to me. And then people aren't having this question in your footer. They're having it at the checkout when they're giving you that payment information. So really not necessary here, and it's kind of a distraction.
Yeah, that's right. Totally agree. So to summarize, you would want commercial links on the far left, and then kind of resources, which would be return, shipping, sizing, that kind of thing. Maybe the contact form here with the newsletter and the social bundled underneath that. And then on the right, you want that trust trifecta. It's like logo, physical address, email address, contact number, phone number.
Ideally.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the 4-column layout. And then removing these payment icons, and we are good to go. Awesome. So that's the end of the homepage. Let's go take a look at one of these models and see if they've got a size 15 for you. You like the boot? You like the low tops? What's your style? Or the sliders?
Ooh, no, I want to try the Zilker.
Okay.
I need a travel shoe now that travel's picking back up. And I just had this issue. I went to a wedding, so I needed a nice pair of shoes, and I took a casual pair of shoes. And a size 15, you put a pair of shoes into a suitcase, and you pretty much can fit like one change of clothes otherwise.
Right. So if you can fold them up and they snap back into shape when you get there. So it looks like they have 2 different bottoms. It looks like maybe they've got this white sole and then this gum sole, classic gum sole.
All right, let's.
Okay, so whichever one you like.
Let's go with the heathered gray.
This one down here, yeah.
Yeah, let's do.
I like that one too. All right, cool. Oh, just shy of where
14.
you need to be. But you know what? If you don't wear socks, maybe you can make it work. I don't know.
Well, this is part of where the challenge of being 6'7", having big feet. I think that This is something where I would want to know. Okay, click on fitting.
Yeah,
this is great. We're getting a free user testing in here. Fits true to size. Oh, I have to email you. Can't you just tell me what the measurement is? Oh, tell me. Okay, so just say 15 is this specific inches or centimeters, something like that. Yep. Interesting, but fits true to size. I always hate when people say that, even if it's true, because the reality is I don't know what when you say true to size, it's like, well, shoes are so weird in that effect. Like
Yeah.
between Nike and Adidas and dress shoes, like there were some dress shoes I can wear a 13, no problem.
Yeah.
But Nikes, it's like it's a 15 or bust. Like I can't wear a
Right.
14.
Well, it's not like you're citing
So
the metric system, you know? There's no like stable measurement of what size is to be true too. Like my kids' clothes, they're wearing 2T in some things, they're wearing 18 months in
yep.
other things, and you know, they're even
Hmm.
higher in other areas. So it's like it's all brand dependent. So yeah, I totally get
Yeah.
what you're saying there. I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe
And
if we send this over, maybe they'll put together a custom pair of 15s for you.
hey, well, one thing that I recently encountered that I think is amazing for shoe brands is that they offered a free try-on program. What that means is you put down your credit card and you order like, hey, I like this or these two colorways, or I want to try a 13 and a 14 and see what fits better. And then I know I'm going to send one back.
Hmm.
And it's essentially offering free returns, right? And it's no different than that, but they don't charge you until you I think it's like a week after it arrives, or you initiate the return for the items you're not going to wear anymore, that
Interesting.
don't fit. So it's a try on at home program, and it's really like I was buying shorts, and I was like, I'm tall. I need shorts with the right inseam. They had 8.5 and they had a 10-inch inseam. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know which ones I really want. I mean, I want to wear them at work. I want them to look professional. I don't want them down below my knees. Is the 10 going to be too long? I don't know. Sometimes, it really depends. So I ordered both, and I ended up keeping the 10s because they were above the knee. They felt great. The 8.5s looked like 70s basketball shorts on me. But it was interesting. I really appreciated that because I didn't have to pony up the cash, and I knew I was getting free returns, and it was just like I got them from a store, right? So
Yeah.
um, I enjoyed that experience,
I can't
and they
remember the
included
name.
everything in the box I needed to ship back the ones I was not going to wear. So
Interesting. Yeah, there was a subscription service. It was basically like a men's stylist. They send you a box of like an entire wardrobe, and you just keep the
yeah,
pieces you like, and you could keep the
yeah, like
whole
a
thing or
Stitch Fix
not.
or something, right?
Yeah, it's something like that, and then
Hmm.
you just send everything else back, and they charge your card on file for whatever you kept, and they take inventory of it. So I was like, that's pretty cool. That's removing a lot of the friction, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. One
awesome.
question I have
Yeah,
about these shoes: can you show me the fourth image down? It's the sole.
yeah,
They look like they're going to be really slippery, like boat shoes slippery.
yeah.
I don't
It
know.
does look a little bit
Interesting.
like that. They kind of seem like
Mhm.
they have a little bit of texture to them, almost like a pencil eraser, though. You know what I mean? Like a little bit
Mhm.
of like
Mhm.
abrasiveness to the rubber, like the gum sole that you're used to on like skate shoes. If you ever
Yep. Yep.
tried
That's
skateboarding
yeah.
growing up, it's kind of what I'm
That red is
seeing
pretty
here.
sick too.
Yeah.
It's a nice colorway.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, we'll get this over to the Suavs team and see what they think. Maybe they'll put together a pair of 15s just for you. I'm sure they've got the
Yeah.
ability to do it, but they probably don't sell a whole lot because
Well, Swav,
shockingly, not a whole lot of
email
folks are 6'7".
email us. I'm happy to pay for them. If you're willing to make a 15, I will buy a pair.
Awesome. Well, there's the offer. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing all your expertise with us today, John. I think they're doing a lot of things right here, but I think some
Mhm.
small, relatively small or modest messaging changes and a couple of structural changes can really improve the customer experience, especially for new to file customers coming in through organic search or word of mouth referrals or
Mhm.
something. Just typing the website in, landing on the homepage. There's a little bit more education about the differentiators of the brand and what makes them better than alternative options that could be done. I think would really make a difference in terms of sales performance. So I think we give them
Yeah.
a lot of food for thought today. And as always, I appreciate you sharing your insights with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.